Viewed from far out in space, our Earth is a blue-green jewel set in an airless, waterless void. This precious sphere, covered as it is by more than 2/3 water, would more rightly be called planet Ocean. For it was in the ancient sea that all life began, and it is the sea that sustains it still. Some of the ocean's inhabitants have remained perfect and unchanged since the dawn of time. Others have left the sea to walk or crawl upon the land, and some, like the great whales, the seals and sea lions, have returned to it. The creature to have most recently attempted this homecoming is man himself. With faltering, furtive steps, we are just beginning to unravel the timeless mysteries of the oceans. And by doing so, find it not the dangerous, dark, and unwelcoming place of myth, but a fragile and beautiful world in which we are still but mere visitors.
Hello everyone, my name is Tiffany and I would like to welcome you to the Undersea Gardens. I would also like to introduce our diver to you. This is Aaron and he will be our guide through the small corner of the underwater world today. We are all 10 feet beneath the water's surface aboard an actual floating vessel. This vessel is 150 feet in length and 50 feet wide. More than 5,000 animals of various species inhabit the waters around the vessel in a natural but protected environment. The water temperature is anywhere from 47 to 50 degrees, and that is why Aaron wears the protective equipment he does, so he does not get too cold. In addition to Aaron's suit, he also wears a weight around his waist to help control his buoyancy. At this step, Aaron's air supply should last up to 60 minutes. Aaron can see us as well as hear us. Today, we're going to start the show off with the Dungeness crab. The Dungeness is an important part of Newport's economy. Newport is considered to be the Dungeness crab capital of the world. If you were to go to a restaurant here on the coast and order something with crab in it, this little guy's what you'd probably find on your plate. They are feisty and tasty.
Crabs, being crustaceans, are members of a group of creatures that in sheer numbers dominate the Earth and have done so for more than 500 million years. The crab's hard shell is in fact its skeleton, so that in order to grow, it must be shed and replaced by a larger one, up to 7 times in a lifetime. Once hatched from its egg, the crab spends the early stages of its life swimming freely amongst the plankton. A master of adaptability, the crab inhabits every corner of the ocean and ranges in size from less than half an inch up to 11 feet across.
The crabs most commonly found in our waters include the red rock, the box, the hermit, and the Dungeness. Generally solitary dwellers, crabs prefer to remain hidden in crevices, or in the case of the hermit, in discarded shells of other creatures. 2 of the crab's legs have been developed into powerful pictures for feeding and defense. In case of a larger species, a painful wound may be inflicted. As a secondary line of defense, the crab has the ability to shed and regenerate its limbs, often giving up a leg to a serious predator in hopes that predator won't be too hungry and will leave the rest of the crab alone.
Basically, I'm sitting down right now, so I can't really move around much.
Another group of creatures capable of regeneration are the sea stars. In fact, in some cases, should the animal be cut into 2 or more pieces, a corresponding number of complete and separate animals will eventually develop. Relying on a remarkable system of hydraulics for locomotion and a single photosensitive cell on the tip of each arm for sight, the sea stars appear as truly otherworldly beings. As successful predators which have adapted to life in the deepest abyss or the shallowest shoreline, the sea stars prey on shellfish, sponges, anemones, fish, and other sea stars. Once the victim has been located, it's grasped or opened with a pressure sometimes exceeding 100 pounds. The sea star then forces its own stomach out of its body into and over the meal, where it's digested before being passed back through the mouth.
The waters of the Pacific Northwest support the greatest variety of sea stars anywhere on Earth. On the underside of the sea star are tens of thousands of tiny tube feet, which enables the animal to glide over the roughest of surfaces with a seemingly effortless grace of a breakneck speed of 1/8 of a mile an hour. Now, 1/8 of a mile an hour may not seem that fast to you or me, but the sea star can make it on our prey in about an hour. That's pretty fast considering that their main source of food is clams and other shellfish, which only move about 10 to 12 feet per year. The sea star definitely has an advantage over its prey.
Long believed to be the link between animals and plants, anemones are now known to be carnivorous animals, closely related to the corals, hydroids, and jellyfish. In fact, anemones could almost be considered jellyfish that have decided to stand on their heads and attach to the rock for a while. The tentacles are equipped with stinging cells, which act like tiny harpoons, barbed and poisonous. Should some unfortunate creature come into contact with them, they are snared, paralyzed, and drawn through the mouth into the body cavity. As very prolific and colorful as flowers, anemones will often congregate in huge numbers, where the action of wave and current afford a rich and plentiful food supply. In these areas, the sea floor is transformed into a living yet ghostly garden.
Not all anemones remain attached to the sea floor. When faced with a predator, some actually burrow into the sand, while others just simply swim away. The most common defense for the anemone is to fold up its tentacles and become a featureless blob upon the rocks. The anemone also assumes its position while digesting their food. The natural laws of the jungle also apply to the creatures of the sea. However, in order to keep our marine life happy, we've interfered just slightly with nature's right of feeding time. Although it's difficult to train many fish, Aaron has conditioned our marine life to respond to the sound of a dinner bell. The fish of the world can be appreciated for their stunning beauty, complexity, and for their importance in the food chain. It is often a surprise to many people that fish are very long-lived. A lifespan of 30 to 40 years is not uncommon. Most of the fish he seeks to bring on Aaron are a variety of perch and rockfish. We have 3 kinds of perch: tile perch, silver surf perch, and striped sea perch. We also have quite an array of rockfish as well. Those are the fish on the invisible hair running down their backs.
The ferocious-looking wolf eel is in fact an elongated fish, sometimes growing to 8 feet in length. Its powerful jaws, equipped with 20 needle-sharp teeth, enable it to eat many hard-shelled creatures, including sea urchins, which it effortlessly crushes, shells, spines, and all. The wolf eel's evil appearance is always scheming, for they usually mate for life, and even in the wild, are eager to please and play with divers. male, although larger and heavier than the female, is the less aggressive of the two, and often bears the scars of past domestic strife. As juveniles, both male and female are brilliant orange in color, which gradually fades to the mottled gray and black of the adult.
Taking their precedence in rocky dens and guarding them jealously, wolf eels are often encountered by divers with only their faces peering out of the flow of the rock, appearing for the world like a pair of inquisitive underwater muppets. At the gardens, the wolf eel has become a firm favorite as they are both friendly and fascinating.
Like the shark, the sturgeon has remained basically unchanged for millions of years. Its ancient armor-plated ancestors roamed the primeval oceans when the earth was young. Today, most sturgeon species inhabit murky rivers and lakes from Canada to Eurasia, with a few of them, such as the white sturgeon, spending a part of their life cycle in the ocean. Their very poor eyesight is compensated for by the extremely sensitive whiskers, which protrude in front of their mouths. By dragging these along the bottom, the sturgeon locates small animals such as shrimp, worms, and clams, before sucking them up into their tube-like mouths. The sturgeon are the only fish species with their skeleton on the outside of their bodies. For most of us, the sea is an alien place. We're not consciously affected by it. We give it no emotional thought, but it is essential that we do. For many of us, the sight of the distant stars and planets is more familiar than that of our own ocean realm. Only through understanding that we are all directly linked to and dependent upon the fragile beauty of the sea and its inhabitants will we ensure their survival, and by doing so, ensure our own. We've just spent a few brief moments with some of the creatures of the sea, with whom we share this, our planet ocean.
I'd like to thank you all for coming to the Undersea Gardens today. Let's give Aaron a big hand and thank him for the great show. Thank you all for coming to our show. I hope you enjoyed it. While you're on the Bayfront, be sure to visit the Waxworks and Ripley's, believe it or not. It's all just across the street on Mariner Square. Aaron will be upstairs in about 10 minutes, and he would be happy to answer any questions that you all may have. Thank you very much.
That was awful. That's our